We were in a unique condition, just really quickly, where even when we went to E3 2019 and we were with Jeff Keighley's, we were part of that presentation to the judges for the Game Awards, they wouldn't classify us as independent. So we were only compared against the AAAs. We don't have AAA budgets. We were self-financed, and it was like, wow. So we're not being treated for what we are. We have a higher expectation that we need to meet. And
why did they do that?
I don't know. You just said there's no way Oddworld's independent. You're not indie. And we were like,
man, you got to define indie, right? Like, what is indie?
That was a big question, So we felt fortunate that we were included in the lineup. We felt fortunate that we got a number of awards from the show. But that was kind of like, well, what did we invest for? Because we can't come up here and, because it costs a lot of money to put on a group like that, like tens of thousands of dollars and a lot of time. And then you find out no matter what, you're up against EA and Ubi and, the big boys, and you're not a big boy. Like we were self-financed. So those things were surprising. And you'd say, wow, okay, what are we then? Like, no one else is really helping us out too much there. But that's life. And you go, okay, well, it gave us a chance to have an exposure. It didn't necessarily net the results that we were hoping for or what we felt was a fair classification, but you learn. I used to whine about things like this more. I think I've grown up a bit and been like, hey, man, it's business, and people with their own organizations have the right to decide their own rules. I'd like to understand some of them better at times. But, it is their right. In the case of Jeff's organization and his successes, he has the right to really do what he wants. And so we're fortunate enough to have, at least been invited to be present. And I have to be grateful for that. As time goes on, there's more and more I have to be grateful for. And that's just the truth of it. I was really grateful for the people and the effort that they did to try and, bring this project home, because it was truly extraordinary.
The debate I've had this a few times now. Are you an indie? Are you not an indie? It keeps coming up. And I think someone needs to just, I think a group of individuals like yourself probably need to get together and actually define what is classed as an indie. Maybe in my head, it's like, are you self-financed and it's about budget, right? I don't know. It's a question for bigger minds than mine. I've got to ask you, right?
Mine too.
Maybe we should do it. Maybe we should tell them.
We were over at Oxford Studio with a number of different indie groups. As we were approaching 2014 release of the PS4, there was a spotlight on indie and the question of self-publishing or not, and the question of what's really AAA, and does that mean AAA requires a massive budget and a massive marketing campaign, or is it the quality of a product and how good it is? And because we see a lot of AAA that's not really, it was very expensive, but it's not really AAA. And then we see some amazingly what would be considered indie products that they wouldn't call AAA, but perform like AAA, like Fall Guys, as an example, where pretty meticulous and pretty great, simple chemistry with a great reception, but would that have been called AAA before its success? I don't know. I don't think so, just because it was an indie group, published by an indie publisher. And so it's a fuzzy line. And I think even if we all got together and agreed on something, that doesn't mean the press is going to agree, and they have their own opinions. Yeah.
It's got, I personally, I think it has to be budget, right? Because I think if something's successful, it's like when you have indie films, right? I think that sometimes people try and overcomplicate it to justify certain positions, like like they're saying to you, look, mate, you guys, Oddworld is so well known, it's such a big IP, then of course you're going to compete with EA. But actually, I think if you look at film, like when you have indie films, it's like self-financed on a considerably lower budget than something that Universal's going to put out or Disney's going to put out. I think it's unfair to take that away from indies almost, because it's like, well, actually, no, like we have to do this, and like these are the stresses that we have, and you have all these additional things to consider when you are self-financed by saying, no, actually, you're going to come into this bracket because this is the quality that you put out. It's like, well, no, we just overachieve. Like that's what it comes down to, man.
Yeah.
Like we're doing more than we should.